Hi everybody, it's Grace Bell. Welcome to Eating Peace this week. I'm here in my kitchen, as I often do my Eating Peace videos, sharing little tidbits with you on how to relax and find eating peace instead of eating battles and eating wars. I was really thinking about those words, eating peace, and how that just doesn't seem like what we've got, you know? If I look back on my past and my experience with eating and food, it felt like it was a constant war, a constant battle, aggression, violence, everything that was extremely stressful when it came to food, eating, moments of food and eating, the experience in the body of hunger or fullness. None of them worked. None of them felt right. Everything was wrong and off. It was all very, very tense. Definitely not eating peace. It's funny, I just made that simple synopsis today. I just wrapped up rewriting a short ebook that's going to be in the links right down below underneath of this video today. That is kind of an upgrade, an update added to a little PDF ebook that I give away for free that describes 7 common sort of mistaken or limited beliefs, or we don't even have to name those kind of beliefs. They're just beliefs that often people think of as true, that are passed along from one person to another, or that seem to just appear and that you wind up believing, that really keep eating battles in place. And then I decided to share what I really wanted to add was how to have a 7-day practice. There's 7 mistaken beliefs, 7 limited beliefs, but how to have a practice each day of questioning those beliefs, or what it would look like if I changed the dynamic, changed it up, danced in a different way. So I added that to the PDF and kind of named it something a little bit different so you can totally get it. You might enjoy. And I wanted to speak today briefly to the first belief that I have that is worthy of mentioning and that I know is incredibly interesting to question. And that is the sense of urgency. So, you know what happens when you feel compulsive? You start to believe, I must have this thing now. I have to go get that thing to eat. Maybe you start thinking of a certain type of food, or you just want to eat, period. You just want to be in the activity of eating. And it builds into a sort of energy that is like an emergency. And I thought about this word emergency because it comes from the etymology, and the etymology just means the history, the place, the origin of this word. It comes from the word emergent, which doesn't necessarily have to have urgency with it. It doesn't need to happen now. It doesn't mean we're freaked out and like incredible speed about it. Something's emerging. In fact, that even sounds a little bit slow. Like here comes the thing, emerging, the caterpillar, the butterfly is emerging out of the caterpillar. Kind of funny. How did that get associated with emergency? Something unexpected is coming. Something unknown. And so there's an assumption that there's a surprise. In any case, we have this emergency feeling. There's a surprise or something we don't know, and we're faced with it. And often, at least my experience was that when I bump up against something surprising, I wind up wanting comfort. Where's my comfort? Food and eating. I'm surprised. I don't like it. I might feel anxious or afraid or whatever, startled, nervous, wondering what the future is going to be like with this encounter. And so how do I find comfort? Food. But just simply to watch this sense of speed when you know you've got it. People have it who don't even have food and eating troubles. Maybe their addiction is another process. I don't know. Maybe they don't have a compulsive addiction, but people experience this and it's very stressful. I have to do it now. It must happen. That person has to change. This thing has to come through. It's got to go on the way I want to, like this fiery kind of energy. It's got to go the way I want it to go, or it's going to be bad. What an amazing thought to realize your perception is that something is imperative. It must happen. It's going to be horrible if it doesn't go the way you want. And to remember the work in that kind of moment, when you feel the fire of urgency or speed. And that's the first thing that I was writing about in this document, is the sense of speed, and it has to happen now, and it's really intense, and it must control, or whatever, urgency, emergency. Who would I be without that thought? Who would I be without that story? It has to happen now. I definitely felt it all the time when it came to eating food. Once the thought came into my mind of binging or going through the cycle of consuming, it always ended, good to notice, but there's that emergency piece before it ever happens. I've got to have it, if something needs to relax my anxiety. Who would I be without that thought? What would it be like if you turned that thought around? This is not an emergency. It is not urgent. Can you find an example for how that is just as true or truer than your original belief, this is urgent, and I'm having an emotional experience and it needs to get fixed right now? Who would you be without that thought? But what would it be like, or can you find examples for this thought not being true and it actually needing to slow down? What if the turnaround was truer? I need to slow down. This needs to not have urgency. Could that be just as true? Am I sure that I need to run out of the house like there's a fire happening somewhere and go to the store to buy food? I find it's not true. So what if slowing down would offer some incredible insight? Who knows? And if you need to have your journal to write, because just sitting by yourself in a room trying to stop the flow of an emergency feeling, an emergent feeling, is very difficult. But writing and sharing that with someone else in a very, very honest way can really make a huge difference. You are willing to see and speak to the feelings that you're having in that emergency state that seems like an emergency, seems like it, but it actually isn't. I usually realized every single time I ever felt like binge eating or overeating, I might have thought there was an emergency happening, but there wasn't. Nothing was going on that was death threatening or that was going to end my life. I guess I go to the extreme, but nothing was threatening enough that I couldn't find another solution for relaxing, calming down, and not eating. In fact, eating now doesn't occur to me if I have stirred up emotions. And that can be the case for you too. If you really take a look and see what it is that you think is causing a sense of urgency or speed or moving fast or wanting to be quick with anything in your life. It doesn't even have to be food or eating. Anything that's happening that says, I need to be doing this quicker. Notice when you feel like you need to be doing something quicker, you have a grip like this. Fast, come on, come on, come on. You might be yelling, come on, everybody, let's go, run. Who would you be without that story? Hands open up, body relaxes, and you can find some reasons, really solid reasons, I believe, why it's not urgent. It's not necessarily. You can lie down on the floor if you need to. Slow down. Drop to the floor. Just like when you think something's on fire, like your clothes, you're trained to drop to the floor and put the fire out. Do that. See what happens. I know that sounds a little funny. There you are alone at night and you feel like binge eating. Drop to the floor. Roll around a little bit and see what happens. Who would you be without your story? Bye, everybody. Take care.